Hey folks, today is Friday, May 5th, 2017. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, here to talk about some video game stuff that has been going on this week. And with E3 right around the corner, it seems like we're starting to get some things rolling out. Most notably, invitations have went out for Bethesda's E3 showcase when it shows off its new games and stuff. And the invitation is very interesting, showing off a few little clues about what might be announced. The invitation shows all of Bethesda's other properties. You see a little Fallout, you see some Elder Scrolls, you see some Doom and Quake, but the most interesting things are two little under construction spots hinting that we'll see two new things. Now, the big question is, of course, what are these two things going to be? There's a lot of different things it could be, but hopefully it's not Rage or Brink. Actually, Brink was okay. Brink wasn't okay.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be good.
Customization
Yeah.
options?
So much for that. But the two things that people seem to believe that they may possibly be is the new Wolfenstein game that was kind of hinted and teased at a while ago from Bethesda and also hinted at by BJ's voice actor. That does seem to be a likely thing. Those games did do well and they're really good. If you haven't played them, you should check out The New Order. And the other one a lot of people are saying is The Evil Within. Last year it was a rumor that we were going to see The Evil Within 2, so that makes it a little more likely this year. That studio hasn't really been working on anything big since the first game and its DLC, which was actually pretty good. That may not necessarily be the game announcement I want, but I'll take it. It's still good, and seeing as how it could be in the works for a while, this could be an announcement that it releases right in the fall, right around the corner, and that's always good. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, I really do, but don't expect it to be an Elder Scrolls game because it pretty much is a given that we're not getting another one anytime soon. But we won't really know for sure what these games are going to be until E3 in June, unless we get some more hot leaks. But something else we do need to talk about is some new announcements from Injustice 2. The game is getting closer and closer and more reveals, and the game just looks really awesome. And now we get to look at DLC fighters, the first DLC add-on fighters, which I gotta say, first and foremost, I wish these guys weren't DLC because they're awesome. Look, we got Starfire, we got Sub-Zero, who looks crazy, and we got Red Hood. That's like a fan favorite. I know a lot of people, the community for Injustice itself has been begging for him, and it's nice now that they're getting him. But I guess if you want your hands on it, you gotta pony up a little cash. But there is something we gotta talk about. This is totally ridiculous. Like everything I talk about, it's linked down in the description below. This is a South Korean politician who is essentially running a campaign that is Overwatch. I shit you not, look at this. This is Sim Sang-jung, and she's trying to reach out to young voters, and she's doing that blatantly by essentially just doing a parody of Overwatch. Her campaign ad actually plays out like a play of the game, and it plays the music, and it just shows her saying political things to her opponents. I don't know, I don't speak Korean, but also her logo, her campaign logo, is basically the Overwatch symbol with a voting check mark in the middle. Is she allowed to do that? I don't care, it's awesome. Also, in some VR news, a few weeks ago, we talked about Palmer Luckey, the founder and co-creator of Oculus, stepping down from his company. Well, what has he been doing lately? Well, it turns out he's doing this. But I guess that's really, I don't know, there's nothing more we can really say about that. Good job in your future cosplaying career. But something we do need to mention is Hideo Kojima speaking about Death Stranding, once again giving us some updates. He was speaking at the Tribeca Games Festival, the first annual one. I did go attend since we're here in New York. It's pretty cool. We got to see some of the greats like Sam Lake, Ken Levine, and of course Hideo Kojima speak. I do think if you're in the New York area, if they do it again next year, if they do it bigger, it could be really awesome, so maybe you should check it out. Shout out to my fiance Amanda for shooting some of these photos. In this translated interview with Jeff Keighley, Hideo Kojima said basically about the progress of the game is that, they have a plot. That was really a joke, but he did go into this weird analogy of the actual development cycle and how they have Norman Reedus' character rendered out walking around in an environment, but they're really just kind of playing around with the engine and seeing the way everything scales and fits within the game. And he talked about comparing it to an Italian restaurant where they know who's sitting at the table, but they don't know what is on the menu yet. People are taking that really literally, saying that, oh, there are scenes now with characters sitting at the table, they just aren't working on details. I don't think he means that. I think what he's trying to say is that they're still playing around with the engine itself and that the game is very far off.
Early for that game would be 2019.
2019, easy.
That's early.
Yeah. The interview itself, I linked it down below, is pretty interesting other than that about his influences and stuff, but the main takeaway here is don't expect Death Stranding anytime soon. But briefly, before we go any further, I just want to let you guys know this episode is brought to you by our pals at Able Gamers. They're a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping the disabled get back into playing games. They just opened this new facility designed around helping people play and 3D printing innovations, making like new ways for people to actually play games. And the way I look at it, the more people who are able to play games and have fun, the better. If you are interested in helping and seeing what they do, check out their website, which we linked below, or donate, or set up your own fundraiser, or just go and spread the word. Let's talk about the new God of War game, which, if you think about it, it's been almost a year since we've seen the actual reveal. The new rumor on the street is that this game isn't coming out until 2018. And you know what? I absolutely agree with that. I saw that coming a mile away. This is really just kind of triggered from the voice actor of Kratos, Christopher Judge, changing his Twitter bio, which previously said God of War 2017. It now says God of War 2018. And I think it does make sense because there's been some weird reports out there of the state the actual game is in. It was technically kind of announced in the early stages in 2014, and then one of the lead guys, Cory Balrog, did go on to say that the game was set up from start to finish. But then I've also heard on the flip side that that E3 stage demo was really just a slice of gameplay where that was the only actual part of the game that was finished. The rest of the game around it still needed to be completely made and worked on. That type of game too, and such a massive departure from the series, is going to take a lot of work and it's going to take a lot of time. And you know what? If this does turn out to be true, 2018, I'm okay with waiting. Just get it right, do it good. But speaking of good, I guess a Reddit user actually managed to get his hands on the original source code of StarCraft. That is absolutely huge. For those of you that don't know, the source code is basically the main code of the game before it's compiled and put out for production. So in terms of video game history and video game preservation, this is a very important thing. And this Reddit user, Chemist49, was actually contacted by Blizzard, who reached out and asked him if he could hand it over because it's important legal stuff that they would like to, preserve. There was some back and forth even with Chemist in the Reddit community really figuring out what they should do with it, and he decided to hand it over, and then Blizzard was really actually thankful and grateful, and they hooked him up with a bunch of stuff. They're flying him out to BlizzCon, all expenses paid. They gave him some money. They gave him a free copy of Overwatch. They gave him a bunch of new keyboard and mouse accessories and stuff, and you know what? It just seems like a good ending. Now, I will say this is definitely a good PR and a good front-facing move for them, because now I'm talking about and telling you guys how cool Blizzard is as a company, so just keep that in mind. But early in the week, we did get a surprise leak of Darksiders 3, and then an official reveal and an announcement. It's releasing in 2018 for all the major consoles and PC. This time around, you play as another one of the Four Horsemen. This time it's Fury. This one takes place once again like the original on Earth in a post-apocalyptic setting. And as of now, there's also a very lengthy gameplay video out. We'll link it below. It's impressive just how much of this gameplay that they put out there. It looks fine. I don't know. I don't really know what to think of it yet. I was kind of more into the first Darksiders than the second one. Fury's powers and her combat does look pretty interesting, but I need to see more. But I do know that the Darksiders series is like a fan favorite, so it's like, yay! It's a happy ending to see a series that we thought was going to be completely dead now coming back to life. So that's pretty awesome. And speaking of surprises and 3, we actually got a DLC announcement for Black Ops 3. This was something that was leaked and rumored, but still something I just really didn't expect. I didn't expect a game like that to be supported so much, but there is a new DLC map pack coming out titled Zombie Chronicles. And what it essentially is 8 new zombie maps remastered from previous zombie games. There's a lot of World at War maps in there, and that's pretty cool. It's being released on PS4 first because of that whole content deal, which is unfortunate. But I think this is really interesting. It's interesting that Activision is acknowledging that there are a ton of people still playing Black Ops 3, which I will say I think the Black Ops 3 multiplayer is better than Infinite Warfare's. So that's cool. Also, I do want to point out we're doing another contest. We're doing another glitch video. Prey is out now. It's pretty interesting if you like stuff like BioShock, System Shock, and Half-Life, actually. I'll have it before you buy out probably tomorrow. But we do want to see what glitches you guys got. So if you've come across anything weird or crappy or glitchy in the game, definitely send it our way. There'll be a link below where you can submit your links. We're going to make a compilation video of all the best glitches, and of course the number one best glitch that we choose, that person with that clip is going to win a free game of their choice. And after recording, I totally realized that I forgot the actual giveaway that we usually do every week, which is the most important thing. I'm a stupid idiot. But you know the deal, every single week there's a link below. You click it to sign up, you enter once, and you're entered forever. And then we go in and randomly choose one winner to win a free console of their choice. And this week's winner is going to be that guy right there. Be sure to keep an eye on your inbox so I can get in touch with you and send you your console. But that's what's been going on this week, guys. It's actually been pretty interesting. So let's talk about this stuff down in the comments. First things first, how do you feel about Darksiders 3? The more I think about it, the more I'm into it. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the series, I think they could prove a lot here. And since we started off with it, Bethesda, what games do you think they're going to announce? Do you think it's going to be completely new IP or all sequels of previous games? I gotta say, I would like to see a completely new game that we know nothing about, but who knows? Hey, let's talk about any of that stuff down in the comments. I'll be there talking with you guys as much as possible, but I'll also be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. But thanks for coming around every Friday, guys. I guess this train just keeps on rolling. Anyway, whatever. I hope you have an awesome weekend. You guys know clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and we really appreciate it. And if you're new, subscribing is a good idea because we put out all kinds of videos every day. But as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Pizza is on me. I'm never going to snap my fingers. It's stupid.